Hello, everyone. Welcome to Christopher's Entertainment Blog. I'm your host, Chris, and welcome to my review video for The Flash Season 2, Episode 21, entitled The Runaway Dinosaur. So, guys, this episode was the episode that was actually directed by Kevin Smith, who's made such great films like Clerks and Mallrats, and Chasing Amy was a great one. Um, and I think I had some really high hopes for this episode because it was directed by Kevin Smith. And after watching this episode, I have to say it did not meet my expectations, unfortunately. It was actually, I thought it was an okay episode, and I probably have to think it's probably one of the worst ones of the season. There was just something about it where it just fell flat for me, and it was kind of one note, and it just really didn't excite me. It just didn't do anything for me. But overall, I thought it was an okay episode, and I just wanted something more out of this. I mean, it just never happened. I was really hoping that because it was Kevin Smith, we were going to get something spectacular and something just great. And I thought we were going to get that at the end with Zoom, and then it just didn't do anything really. It just was like some other metahumans or whatever, chanting for Zoom. I mean, I don't know. It just didn't really do much for me. But I did have a few positives. The scene with Barry and his mom. I thought that was some really good stuff. Unfortunately, like a lot of this episode, it was a little flat for me, but I also thought it was like overly sad. I mean, it was just the way that it was shot with like the filter or whatever over the actual picture. It made it look very dreary and very sad and depressing. I mean, I was like depressed the whole time watching this. I was like, oh, this episode's not fun. When I watch The Flash, I want to see something awesome. I want to see something uplifting and something just cool looking. Um, and this episode just didn't do that. The grayscale that they put over that was just really weird. But I thought that the scene with Barry and his mom was very good. Seeing his mom again and then basically putting all that he had to rest with her. It was just, I thought it was really good. I thought it was really well done, that stuff. But it was very sad. It was hard to watch for me personally. Another positive for me was all the team stuff. I thought that was really cool. Seeing Cisco and Iris and Joe and Henry was there and Harrison Wells all working together as a team to try to get Barry back, try to save Jesse. I thought they were all working together, so I really liked that dynamic. And I actually forgot that Caitlin was gone this whole episode. That was a weird thing that I forgot she was gone until the very end where Cisco says to Henry, well, we're glad you're here because usually it's Caitlin that does all this. I was like, that's right. Caitlin was missing this whole episode. I forgot she was missing. But I thought the whole team stuff was really cool. I'm really interested to see when Jesse and Wally are going to get their powers because come on, they have to have their powers. So that's probably something that's intriguing to me because I would have thought they would have had like a little like a tease or worse of something of maybe Wally at the end or something, going really fast and like not knowing like what the hell just happened, or Jesse at the same. I mean, I'm surprised that they didn't tease that because you have to believe that Jesse's probably going to get her powers first because she was unconscious, she woke up. Barry touched her at the end with that like electricity. So I would have to think that maybe she's going to get her powers first, and then maybe Wally in another. You would think both of them are going to get it. There's only 2 episodes left, but I would think that maybe the finale, maybe they'll tease, Wally getting his powers and going into next season. I mean, maybe that's how it's going to go. Maybe he's going to get struck by lightning, and then that's going to be like a cliffhanger or something. But I'm really interested to see when they're going to get that because we all know they're going to get their powers at some point here because now they've been blasted by that particle accelerator. So something's got to happen to give them that initial boost over the edge. So should be interesting. Another big positive, probably my biggest positive, was Cisco in this. I think he had some great one-liners. especially about the zombie Girder that showed up. He's like, zombies now? Really? I thought that was hilarious. Um, and I really like that they put like a lot of focus on him in this episode. Like he was an incredibly important part of getting to where Barry was at. Without his vibe powers, they wouldn't have been able to get Barry back. So he was an important part. I really like that they put him in like the central focus point, and just overall, just him vibing into the Speed Force and pulling Barry out. I mean, I thought that was really cool stuff. So Cisco was a big positive for me. So I really like that. But unfortunately, there are some negatives. Like I said, this was probably the worst episode of the season for me personally. The stuff with Iris and Barry, basically, I feel like they are rushing this whole relationship thing now with Iris and Barry. I mean, last year they had it and it kind of sizzled out towards the end, and that this season has been basically their relationship has been non-existent. Like Barry, I don't think he's even mentioned really going after Iris at all this season, not that I can recall anyway. So I think that all of a sudden over the last 3, 4, 5 episodes, I mean, they've really been pushing this whole Iris thinking that it's destiny and maybe I should get with Barry, and like she's being forced into this, and it does feel very forceful. Like maybe she's like peer pressuring Barry into this relationship now. It's just like she actually goes into the Speed Force to get Barry over. She's like, I don't want Barry's father to go. I'm going to go. Like, wow, you think your relationship is that strong that you're going to push Henry, Barry's father, out of the way and actually go into the Speed Force? And then she's like, Barry, come back to me. It's just like, I mean, you haven't really had that much of a relationship besides being like almost like brother and sister. I mean, I don't know. It was just kind of weird to me. It's like they're really forcing this relationship, you know, down our throats now all of a sudden. Like I guess they're going to go into the third season maybe with this relationship thing, but it just doesn't seem very organic or natural to me. So it just seems a little forceful. Um, Another huge negative for me was the zombie Girder. I thought was absolutely useless. That character was terrible. I thought that character they had, the earthquake guy, I forget his name. I thought that character was bad. That character was terrible. This character was just horrendously terrible. Uh, I was like, why are they bringing this character back? I mean, he wasn't that great to begin with in the first season. I mean, he was okay, but wow, they I don't know. It was like they had to put something in there to fill out the time between what was happening with Barry and the team and everything, and they had to put this like element of, I don't know. They didn't really. I personally don't think they needed to have this character in there at all. They could have just dealt with what was happening to Barry and the team and what was happening with Jesse. Is she going to wake up or not? I mean, that's what I think they should have done. This whole thing wedged in there, just they didn't need it at all. And it's like, did he walk from Star Labs? He walked from Star Labs all through the city to like Jitters, and then to Iris's house, and then back to Star Labs. It was like, wasn't that like 20 miles or something? It was like he was like walking around the city. It's just like, what is happening? Um, so yeah, that character was really bad. It was like all the focus point was it was all to get to Iris. It was like they were putting everything on Iris, that she was like so desirable that that they are putting everything on her. Like it's just like, come on. And lastly, another nitpick negative that I had was I just wish they would have explained how Barry kind of got his powers back. They didn't really explain that very much. I mean, he was in the Speed Force and he caught that shadow or whatever, and it was himself. It was actually kind of convenient that he just stuck out his hand and the shadow just he just caught it. And then all of a sudden he's got the suit on. I'm just like, okay, that was convenient. And then he shows up back in Star Labs and he's got the suit on and he's got his powers. But the group was like, they didn't even ask, like, where did you get that suit at? And then you got your powers back. How is that? I don't know. It just seemed very convenient. And I just wish they would have explained it a little bit more. I know the Speed Force probably just gave him the powers and just, it was very convenient. I don't know. It was just I was just hoping something more, that was just something more there. And it just never happened. I mean, that's like I said about this whole episode. It was like I was really expecting just something more out of this episode, and we just never got it. And then the whole Zoom thing at the end, like I said, it was just he's just hanging out in the jail, or in the police station this whole time. Really? And then there's like this group, this mob of other metahumans or whatever. It's just I don't know. It was just I didn't really care much for that ending. But it was the quintessential filler episode. This really was a filler episode. So now we're going to get into the last two episodes of the season, guys. I really hope they deliver a strong last two episodes to go out into the third season. But yeah, guys, if there's anything that I missed in this episode that you really liked about this episode, or anything you didn't like about this episode, please, please write in the comments below. But that will do it for me for this week. I will see you guys next week. Until then, take it easy.